We're speaking with Mehdi Sarram. Mehdi Sarram is an Iranian nuclear engineer who also worked for the Department of Safeguards at IAEA before becoming a U.S. citizen, where he worked for the U.S. nuclear industry. He has over 30 scientific publications on the subject. His latest book is Nuclear Lies, Deceptions, and the Hypocrisies. He's now joining us from Carlsbad, California. Mehdi, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
So Mehdi, in part one, we talked about the nuclear agreement, whether it is actually a good thing for Iran. But often when we see this issue covered in the Western press, we rarely get a glimpse of how Iranians are feeling about this agreement. And we saw celebrations when of course, upon signatures between Iran and the P5+1 came about. But since then, we haven't really seen much more. Give us a sense of how Iranians are receiving the agreement.
Thank you. I'll give you the viewpoint of my own family members, Iranians. We talk, we can Skype to Iran. There are different views. Those people whom you see in the streets of Tehran celebrating, these are naturally the pro-regime people. These are the people who go in the street and say the greatest, da-da-da-da. But underneath that, when I talk to professors, I talk to the highly educated Iranians, to the young people, there are like about 50 million of them. Iran is a young country. You will see that they show the same concerns that I did in segment number one, meaning, okay, this is great. It's good for the world. Israel will not attack us. America will not attack us. But what happened to the tens of billions of dollars of the country's investments? Now, they also have a second concern, which is also my concern. As Iran's assets are being released, we don't know how much it is. Somebody says 24, somebody says 150 billion. Let's just say nominally the oil money, assets, gold, whatever, around the world, not all in America, in Europe, in all over the world. Let's say $100 billion. This will be released to Iran slowly. It's not like all of a sudden. The implementation phase that hopefully I can talk about is as Iran dismantles these centrifuges, money will be released to them. If IAEA is happy and give a good grade to Iran, US will release more money. So Iranians are unhappy about the wasted money and how the new money, which is the money for the people of Iran, will be used. Will that go to support Syria? Will that go to support Yemen? Or will, hopefully, most of it will be spent for the welfare, roads, construction, education within the country? I think it's a combination of all. So the Iranians, you don't see a single article in US media about what I just talked about. They only say, well, what are they going to do with the money? They should not give it to their proxies.
What money are you specifically referring to here?
I'm referring to specifically John Kerry, whom I respect a lot. A reporter on the other side of the aisle asked, well, we should tell Iran money, this, that should not go to Syria, should not go. And John Kerry answered, listen, this is their money. How can America or P5+1 tell a country like Iran what to do with their money?
You're talking about the frozen assets of Iran here in the United States and the money it has generated that they will be now getting back?
Absolutely. It's about $100+ billion. Remember, since the sanctions of 2006 that George Bush Jr. put on Iran, there are 6 Security Council sanctions. There are numerous EU sanctions. There are yet more US Senate sanctions on Iran. People only talk about Security Council. There are 3 sets of sanctions on Iran, and they will be lifted gradually. I believe the US Senate sanctions will take years to be lifted because the Republicans won't agree. But the EU sanctions and Security Council sanctions will be lifted, such as Iran can export oil, such as students can come to America, such as my sisters can travel freely. So the money will relax the environment. I am optimistic, much like UK, Britain opened an embassy in Tehran recently. Amazing. Maybe the US and Iranian governments in 5-10 years, who knows, will open embassies and relationship will be better. I am optimistic. I cannot be otherwise. So the opposition in our US Senate is really frivolous. It's all about politics and re-election of people. I think Obama, to me, should be given a second Nobel Prize in Peace for not allowing Israel attack Iran and create a world crisis. But of course, the Republicans say everything is done is illegal. What Obama did is a masterpiece of diplomacy, and no one gives him credit.
Mehdi Sarram, I just want to hold up your book here, Nuclear Lies, Deceptions and Hypocrisies. And I just want to make sure that people who want to know more about it to read this book, but give us a little glimpse into the book and what you cover.
Sure, thank you. I spent about 5 years researching who lied to whom and when. I decided to choose only 7 countries, and North Korea, China, Russia are not there. Not in any particular order. I chose Iraq, Syria, Israel, Iran, my home country, India, Pakistan, and the good old United States of America, my new home. I went to 60 years ago and figured out, like, how did India lie to Canada and develop the 1974 nuclear weapon? That was based on lies and deceptions. By the way, I've been to India 3 times. I know them. We know the site. How Pakistan, AQ Khan, stole the technology from Urenco, Netherlands, and built a bomb. Then they helped Iran with the centrifuges. Iran. Nobody talks about it. Iran's Natanz and Fordo enrichment facility are legal, kosher. They meet the NPT requirements. However, how they got that technology with millions of dollars of cash in Dubai to the representative of AQ Khan is in my book. Actually, the chapter on Iran is 150 pages, and I go back to 1955 to the present time, including the Iran and P5 deal. Israel, well, I have declassified documents from State Department. It's all there. How Ben-Gurion, Eshkol, how Israeli prime ministers lied to Eisenhower, Johnson, and Kennedy, and meanwhile they were developing their nuclear weapons. And of course, there's something here I discovered, Sharmini. It's like someone lies to someone else, the second person knows, but they want to be lied to. John F. Kennedy could have stopped Israel from developing nuclear weapons. He decided to be lied to and not do anything about it. I thank you very much for having me on your program. This is the 2nd time, and it's indeed a pleasure for me.
Pleasure having you, Mehdi Sarram. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.